I never noticed how loud a quiet house could be until Henry died. The refrigerator hums like a radio left between stations. The clock in the hallway clicks hard enough to sound judgmental. I keep the kitchen lit anyway, one warm lamp over the sink. Because that's what we used to do. Leave a light for whoever came home last. These days, it's always me. I scrub a baking sheet from my test batch of lemon bars and tell myself the citrus smell means company, even when it doesn't. People think owning a chain of cafes makes you a social butterfly. Mostly, it makes you a list maker. Tomorrow's dough schedule, employee schedules, vendor calls. I still keep Henry's chef knife on the magnet strip, sharpened out of habit, a small ritual that tricks me into feeling partnered. We built Sweet Harbor from a tiny Ballard storefront to 7 locations around Seattle before his heart gave out at 59. The success feels heavier without the person you were trying to impress. It's been a year and a half since Sophia slammed my front door and told me I loved croissants more than her. Not exactly poetry, but grief turns decent kids into dramatists. She wanted a loan for her husband Daniel's 3rd startup pivot, something in crypto health, which sounded like vitamins for the blockchain. I said no, or rather, I said not now, not with your father freshly buried and the estate not even settled. She heard no, period. We stopped speaking after a fight that spilled from money into everything we hadn't said for a decade. I tell the other moms at church that I'm giving her space. What I mean is, I count how many weeks it's been since I heard her voice and pretend that number doesn't live in my bones. I placed a box of day-old cinnamon rolls on the porch last Christmas with a note that said, "For you and Daniel, no strings." The box disappeared. The silence didn't. My phone rings while I'm drying my hands on a dish towel that's frayed at the corners because I can't bring myself to toss it. The screen says, Sophia. Every muscle in my body stands up. For a heartbeat, I consider letting it go to voicemail, as if that would prove I have a spine. Then, I answer like a rookie and say her name twice. She says, "Hi, Mom," in that careful voice you use with skittish horses and X's. There's a long exhale on her end, the city a faint hiss behind her. "I don't want to fight," she says. "Daniel and I were talking, and we miss you. Would you come to dinner? Tonight? I'm making roasted chicken, the kind with the garlic under the skin." The memory catches me off guard, her tiny fingers pushing cold garlic slivers into a bird, while Henry narrated like it was an Olympic event. My throat goes tight in a way that feels both lovely and cruel. "We moved to Bellevue," she adds, like she's confessing. "I'll text the address." I walk to the window because the room suddenly feels too small. Rain lace hangs from the streetlight, the kind of drizzle Seattle perfects. "Tonight?" I repeat, stalling for time I don't need. If I think too long, fear will get loud. "What time?" I ask. 7:30? She says quickly. "And Mom, I really want this to be good. Let's not talk about the loan or the will. Just us." I hear Daniel in the background ask if he should open a Pinot. Something about the casual domesticity of it scrapes at my skepticism in a way that makes me feel petty. "All right," I say. "I'd like that." After we hang up, the text arrives with a pinned location and a little heart. The heart undoes me more than the address. I stare at it until the screen dims, then I march myself upstairs like a general who's remembered her troops. If we're doing this, we're doing it with dignity. I iron the blouse Henry said made my eyes look like rainwater, and pull the navy skirt that doesn't pinch when I sit. My wedding ring sits in its dish. I slide it on, a touch of armor. I consider my hair for too long, and settle on the version that says, approachable but not apologizing. Gifts are tricky when you owe each other apologies. Wine feels transactional. Flowers wilt by morning. I decide on a cake, simple vanilla with strawberry filling, because breaking bread is what saved us the first time life tried to shake us apart. I pipe a small, careful border and write nothing on the top. This meal doesn't need captions. At the last second, I add a jar of our house-salted caramel to the bag because Sophia used to eat it by the spoonful when she thought I wasn't looking, and I want at least one moment tonight where her eyes go soft. On the hall table, there's a photo in a thrift store frame. Sophia at 9 with soccer hair and skinned knees, grinning at Henry like only daughters can. Next to it, a folded letter she wrote me at 16 after our ugliest mother-teen dispute. I know you're trying, Mom. I am too. I touch the paper and promise the room that I will try tonight with my whole chest. I will not keep score. I will not bring spreadsheets to a hug. Of course, the brain doesn't take orders. On the drive over, no wine for me, not when rain turns I-90 into a mirror. I rehearse landmines I'll step around. I won't say responsible. I won't say protect the business. I won't say your father would have. I also won't let myself be bullied into penance that looks like a check. Grief made me soft where I should have been clear. Clarity is not cruelty. I repeat it like a prayer as the city lights snake across the lake. I arrive early in my head, which means I'm right on time. I park, then sit with the engine off, listening to the wipers conduct a small symphony on the glass. Fear and hope are rowdy roommates. They both want the front seat. I let them bicker until the calmer part of me speaks up, the baker in me who knows you can't rush a rise. One course at a time, I tell myself. Lead with love, protect your heart. Both things can be true. I text her. Here, no rush. Take your time. The 3 dots appear and vanish, like a heartbeat in a hospital monitor. Then, come on up, we can't wait to see you. The cake feels heavier than its size when I lift it from the passenger seat. I balance it against my hip the way I used to carry her. On the stoop, I pause, breathe in rain and rosemary from some neighbor's planter, and lay my hand flat against the door to steady the shake I pretend I don't have. Okay, Lynn, I whisper, using Henry's old nickname for me because it still makes me brave. Let's go see our girl. Then I ring the bell. The door swings open before I even lower my hand from the bell. Sophia stands there in a cream dress that probably costs more than the Honda I drove up in. Her hair is curled the way I used to do it for her junior prom, only glossier, more deliberate. For a second, her eyes dart past me, checking the driveway as though she expected someone else to appear. Then she leans forward and hugs me. It's quick, rehearsed, but I cling for a heartbeat longer than she does. Mom, she says brightly, stepping back. You look wonderful. Not bad for a woman who fought with her ironing board an hour ago. I manage, trying humor before emotion swallows me. Behind her, Daniel appears. Tailored shirt, watch face glowing like it's auditioning for a luxury ad. He shakes my hand as if I were a business investor instead of his wife's mother. Linda, it's so good to have you here. Long overdue. His cologne is too sharp, the handshake too polished. I step into the foyer and stop short. My entire townhouse could fit inside their entryway. Marble floors stretch under a chandelier that looks like it belongs in an opera house. A curved staircase winds upward like something from a glossy home magazine. On the console table, fresh orchids bloom in perfect symmetry. For a moment, I think I've walked into the wrong house. This is... I struggle for words that won't sound like suspicion. Beautiful? Daniel's project, Sophia says quickly. He's been incredible with investments. Her smile flickers just enough for me to notice before she threads her arm through mine. Come in. Let's not stand here like guests at a museum. A woman in a black uniform, housekeeper clearly, appears from a side hallway. Hispanic, maybe late 40s, with warm eyes that glance at me and then away just as quickly. This is Miguel, Sophia introduces. He helps us with the house. The man nods politely, but there's something cautious in his look, like a warning hidden inside courtesy. We move into the living room, where two gray velvet sofas face each other across a glass coffee table that has nothing on it except a perfectly centered art book. I set the cake down gingerly, feeling like I've dropped a homemade project into a museum. Wine? Daniel offers, already uncorking a bottle. Not while I'm driving, I say. Water's fine. They exchange a glance, subtle but there. Sophia claps her hands lightly. Dinner's almost ready. Roasted chicken, just like we used to do on Sundays. Remember, Mom? How could I forget? Henry would spend all afternoon basting while Sophia perched on the counter with her garlic slivers. The memory softens me against my will. I look around the room. Everything screams curated wealth, artwork with price tags I don't dare imagine, rugs so thick they swallow sound. Yet the space feels sterile, like a stage set rather than a home. My daughter pours water into a crystal glass that weighs more than my coffee mugs. Her smile is constant, too constant, like she practiced it in the mirror. Bellevue suits you, I say finally. Though it's a leap from the condo you had last year. Sophia's laugh comes out too sharp, and Daniel jumps in before she can answer. Real estate is about timing. We caught the market just right. I nod, though unease pricks the back of my neck. A year ago, they were asking me for money. Tonight, they're hosting me in a house that feels like a Forbes spread. Logic and loyalty wrestle inside me. I tell myself not to ruin the evening with suspicion, but I can't help noticing the cracks. Miguel's fleeting worried looks, Sophia's rehearsed warmth, Daniel's sales pitch tone. The table is already set when we walk into the dining room. Mahogany polished to a mirror shine, china so fine the candlelight glows through it. 3 places, one for each of us. The head chair is mine. Sophia pulls it out with exaggerated grace. Only the best for family, she says. The phrase hangs in the air, heavier than the chandelier above us. For the first time all evening, I feel a chill, despite the fire crackling in the hearth. The dining room looks like it was copied straight out of a lifestyle magazine. The mahogany table glows under a chandelier heavy with crystal, every fork and knife aligned with military precision. A folded linen napkin sits at each place like a paper swan. I smooth mine nervously and think of the mismatched silverware at home, the way Henry used to shrug and say, "Food tastes the same on any plate, Lynn." Sophia brings in a platter of roasted chicken. The garlic scent rises immediately, and I can't tell if my chest aches from nostalgia or hunger. She sets it down with the flourish of someone auditioning for a cooking show. Daniel follows, carrying a decanter of deep red wine that glows in the candlelight like rubies. To us, he says smoothly, pouring a generous glass for himself and Sophia. He doesn't ask me again, just slides a tumbler of water toward me with a smile that feels more like strategy than courtesy. Mom, dig in, Sophia urges. Her voice has that bright note she used to use when showing me a straight-A report card. I cut into the chicken, finding it perfectly tender, almost identical to the way Henry used to make it. That realization softens me, just for a second. Maybe she really did want tonight to be about family. But then, as we pass bowls of potatoes and green beans, the questions begin. So, Daniel starts, carving into his chicken with precise strokes. Sweet Harbor is still thriving? 7 locations now, right? I blink, surprised he knows the number. 8, actually. We just opened in Tacoma. He whistles appreciatively. That's an empire. Empire's too big a word, I say. It's a bakery, not Rome. Sophia leans forward, eyes bright in a way that feels rehearsed. But Mom, You must be thinking about slowing down. I mean, it's a lot for one person. Have you considered, succession planning? Her words land like a stone in my stomach. Succession planning. I repeat slowly, buying time. Daniel jumps in quickly. Too quickly. It's practical. Everyone our age is looking at long-term security, trusts, power of attorney, making sure the next generation isn't left scrambling. You never know what could happen. I swallow, the chicken suddenly heavy in my throat. Your father and I always handled things one day at a time, I say carefully. That's how we built the business. With trust and work, not legalese. Sophia's fork clinks against her plate. But Mom, don't you think Dad would have wanted stability? For me to help carry the torch? There it is, the flicker of the real request. Not stability. Control. My heart stutters, but I keep my face calm. I think of Henry's voice telling me not to jump to conclusions. Still, unease coils around my ribs. Why tonight? Why this sudden interest in paperwork when we've barely spoken in a year? Miguel enters quietly to refill water glasses. His hand trembles slightly as he sets mine down. Our eyes meet for the briefest second. There's something urgent, unspoken in his look, but then he drops his gaze and retreats to the kitchen. Daniel raises his glass. To family, he says again, almost insistently. Sophia echoes it, her eyes on me, waiting. I lift my water glass, forcing a smile. To family, I say, though the word tastes different now. Dinner continues, but it feels less like catching up and more like an interview. They ask about revenue margins, about whether I've considered selling one or two of the cafes. Sophia asks if my lawyer still handles the estate. Daniel casually wonders if I've kept the business entirely in my own name. Each question is polished with the shine of concern, but underneath, I hear the scrape of calculation. I answer lightly, dodging where I can, though I feel the net tightening. My head swims, and I realize I've had only water and a few bites of food. It's not alcohol making me lightheaded, it's dread. Sophia reaches across the table, her hand brushing mine. Mom, I just want you to know, you can trust us. Whatever decisions you're facing, we're here. Family takes care of family. Her words echo the ones she used at the door. But now they feel heavier, more pointed. I look at her smile, at Daniel's watch flashing in the candlelight, and wonder if I've walked into a dinner or a negotiation disguised as one. I take another sip of water, steadying myself. Across the table, Miguel reappears for a moment, carrying a tray of dessert plates. His eyes flick toward me again, more insistent this time, like he's trying to tell me something without speaking. A chill passes through me that no chandelier glow can warm. Something isn't right, and for the first time all night, I wonder if I should never have rung that doorbell. The conversation keeps circling back to money. No matter where it begins, recipes, travel, even a half-hearted mention of childhood soccer, it always drifts back toward long-term planning and assets. I nod, smile, deflect, but inside, I'm screaming for air. My phone, resting face down beside my plate, buzzes once, then again. I glance down, a number I don't recognize. Bellevue area code. My pulse skips. I swipe the screen open under the table, shielding it with my napkin. A single message fills the screen in block capitals. Do not eat or drink anymore. Leave now. Say nothing to your daughter. The words sear into me. I blink, convinced I've read wrong. But the letters don't change. My throat goes dry. I glance up quickly. Sophia is laughing at something Daniel just said, but her eyes cut toward me, sharp and watchful. I press the phone flat to the table, forcing my expression neutral. My ears are roaring with blood. Another buzz, another message. Go out the back. Kitchen door! Now! It feels like a scene from a bad thriller, except the chicken skin still crackles in the serving dish, and candle wax drips onto the linen. Real life doesn't pause for warnings. My hand trembles as I lift my water glass, pretending to sip while my brain races. Who could possibly know where I am? Who would dare send such a message? Everything okay, Mom? Sophia asks sweetly. Her fork hovers midair. I force a smile. Work question. Nothing urgent. My voice sounds strange in my own ears, too high, too rehearsed. I push back my chair gently. If you'll excuse me, I need the restroom. Daniel gestures down the hall. Second door on the left. His tone is smooth, but his eyes track me too closely. I walk down the hall, each step echoing louder than it should on polished wood. My instincts scream, "Don't go left, keep walking." So I keep walking, past the bathroom door, past a gilded mirror reflecting my pale face, toward the faint clatter of dishes. The kitchen glows under recessed lights, spotless except for the housekeeper, Miguel, standing at the sink. He doesn't turn when I enter, though I know he hears me. His shoulders are tight, as if braced for impact. For a moment, I think I've made a mistake. Then he shifts, just slightly, enough for his reflection in the window to meet mine. His lips barely move. Door, he whispers. My breath catches. He doesn't look at me again, just scrubs a crystal glass with methodical care. I follow his gaze, toward a back door near the pantry. My pulse drums so hard, I fear Sophia and Daniel can hear it from the dining room. I cross the marble tiles as casually as I can, murmuring something about fresh air. Miguel doesn't react, doesn't give me away. The door handle is cold under my fingers. I twist it slowly, silently, and step out. The night air slams into me like baptism. My lungs gulp it down greedily. The backyard spreads wide, manicured to perfection, but I don't care about the symmetry of hedges or the gleam of the pool. I care about the gate at the far end, barely visible under a motion light. I hurry across the lawn, shoes sinking into damp grass. My heart stutters with every step. If they notice I'm gone, they'll come after me. But adrenaline lends me speed I haven't felt in years. At the gate, my fingers fumble with the latch before it clicks open. Beyond lies a quiet residential street lined with luxury cars and tidy sidewalks. I stumble onto the pavement, breathing hard, clutching my phone like a lifeline. Another buzz, another message. Keep moving. Call for a ride, 1 block away. Do not answer their calls. I stagger forward, obeying like a child to a parent. My mind spins. Who is this? How do they know? Why would they warn me? I tap open the rideshare app, fingers clumsy, and set pickup at a corner away from the glowing mansion. Estimated wait, 5 minutes. 5 minutes of exposure, of doubt, of wondering if paranoia has swallowed me whole. I glance back once. The house looms like a theater set, windows glowing warm, hiding whatever performance Sophia and Daniel are still staging inside. I picture them pouring another glass of wine, wondering why the bathroom break is lasting too long. My phone buzzes again, sharp against my palm. Trust me, your life depends on it. My stomach drops. The drizzle thickens into rain, cold against my skin. I pull my coat tighter, every sense on high alert. The headlights of my ride finally appear at the end of the street. Relief crashes through me, messy and overwhelming. I climb inside, give my home address in a shaky voice, and sink into the back seat. Only then do I let the terror show on my face. Only then do I admit that tonight isn't about reconciliation. It's about survival. The driver doesn't ask questions, just fiddles with the radio until smooth jazz fills the silence. The notes float around me like bubbles, surreal against the pounding in my chest. My phone vibrates again. Another message from the unknown number. Call me, now! My hand shakes as I dial. The line clicks twice before a low voice answers. Calm, measured, deliberately neutral. You got out. Good. Who is this? My voice cracks. How do you even know? I can't give you my name, the caller interrupts. But you were in immediate danger tonight. You did the right thing leaving. I press the phone harder to my ear, as if closeness will conjure sense. Danger? That was my daughter. My only child. A pause. Then, steady as a surgeon's hand. Your daughter and her husband are drowning in debt. $2.6 million, owed to people who don't send reminders. They send threats. Loan sharks, underground poker, failed ventures. They're desperate. The words slam into me. I feel the car swaying slightly as we merge onto the highway, but it's my insides tilting. No, I whisper. That house, that dinner, they were thriving. That house is mortgaged beyond reason. Their credit cards maxed. Daniel borrowed from the wrong people to chase investments he didn't understand. They have less than 2 weeks before payment is due. Desperation makes people ruthless. I close my eyes. Henry's voice echoes in my head. Never let panic run your kitchen, Lynn. Panic ruins the recipe. But panic is all I taste. The caller continues, voice still maddeningly calm. They plan to use a sedative tonight. A colorless powder dissolved in alcohol. Multiplies intoxication 5-fold. You'd appear drunk, pliable, confused. They would present legal documents. Transfer of ownership for your cafes, power of attorney, everything. Your signature would look voluntary. My stomach flips. The dizziness earlier, the way Sophia's eyes tracked every sip. Daniel refilling glasses before they were empty. Suddenly, it all makes sense. My God, I murmur. You were lucky someone intervened, the voice says. I grip the phone tighter. How do you know all this? You're not just some stranger with gossip. Silence stretches. I hear only the low hum of the tires on asphalt. Finally, the voice says, because I was there. I heard them plan it. I watched them prepare, and I couldn't let it happen. My mind spins. There was only one other person in that house tonight besides us. The housekeeper, Miguel. His nervous glances, his trembling hand when he set my glass down. I whisper his name before I can stop myself. Miguel. The caller exhales. Yes. I cover my mouth with my free hand. Why? Why risk everything? They'll fire you. Worse. Because it was wrong. Because you don't deserve to lose everything you built. They talked about you like you were a nuisance, an obstacle. Like family meant nothing. I couldn't stand by. I feel tears prick my eyes. It's been so long since anyone put my well-being ahead of profit or convenience. You saved me, I say softly. Don't thank me yet. He warns. They'll notice you're gone soon. They'll panic. And desperate people make dangerous choices. As if on cue, my phone buzzes again. This time, with Sophia's name flashing across the screen. Mom, where are you? We're worried sick. The lie burns hotter than the garlic chicken still lingering on my tongue. I delete it without replying. The driver glances in the rearview mirror. Everything all right back there? I nod, forcing composure. Fine, thank you. Miguel's voice lowers, urgent now. Listen carefully. Change your locks. Contact your lawyer immediately. Move assets into accounts Sophia doesn't know about. She knows your routines, when you bank, which managers you trust. They've studied you. A bitter laugh escapes me, half sob, half disbelief. Studied me? My own daughter? They're out of time, Miguel says flatly. And they decided you were the solution. That's why they reached out after a year of silence. Not reconciliation, survival. My chest caves in. I picture Sophia at age 6, asleep in her bunk bed with flour dust still on her hair from helping me knead dough. I remember her teenage years, shouting about curfews but still sneaking down to eat leftover eclairs. I built my life around that girl. And now, this. Why are you telling me all this? I ask, voice breaking. You could have stayed quiet, saved yourself. Because someone has to do the right thing, even when it costs. His words echo something Henry used to say. Character is doing right when no one's watching. My throat closes. Will you testify? I ask. Silence again. Then, I can't. I need this job, this visa. If they retaliate, I lose everything, but I'll keep feeding you what I know quietly. Enough to protect you. I nod, though he can't see it. My heart feels like it's being crushed between two stones, betrayal and gratitude. The ride nears the city, familiar skyline glowing in the distance. For the first time all night, I breathe a little easier. Brooklyn means home, safety, routine. Yet nothing will ever be routine again. Another buzz, another text from Sophia. Please answer. You're scaring us. I stare at it until it fades. Then I whisper into the phone. Thank you, Miguel, for seeing me as more than a signature on a page. The line clicks. He's gone. I sit back against the seat, trembling. Somewhere between Bellevue and Brooklyn, between a family dinner and a stranger's warning, I've crossed into a new life. One where my daughter is both my blood and my betrayer. One where my survival depends on a man I barely know, who risked everything because he believed right and wrong still mattered. The city lights blur through my tears. I clutch my phone like a weapon, knowing tonight has shattered the last illusions I had about family. And for the first time, I admit it out loud. She tried to kill me. The words taste like ash. But truth, no matter how bitter, is still the only thing that can set you free. The ride should feel like rescue, but instead, it feels like exile. The closer we get to my side of the city, the heavier my chest becomes. My cafes, my home, my memories of Henry, yes, they're safe back in Brooklyn. But Sophia and Daniel are still in that house, still scheming, still holding documents and poison and plans. If I hide, they'll try again. Maybe not with me. Maybe with someone weaker, easier to manipulate. The driver clears his throat. We're about 20 minutes from Brooklyn. Still good with the original address? I stare at the blur of highway lights outside my window. Rain smears them into streaks like tears across glass. My phone buzzes in my lap. 3 missed calls from Sophia. Then a new message pops up. Mom, please, call us back. We're so worried. I almost laugh. Worried? That word, twisted into a costume, meant to hide panic that I've slipped their leash. My thumb hovers over reply, but I delete the message instead. Miguel's words echo. They'll panic. Desperate people make dangerous choices. I reach into my purse and find a photo tucked in my wallet. Our wedding picture. Henry and me standing under the chapel arch, flour dust still under his fingernails because he'd come straight from the bakery. His eyes are steady, the kind that could convince you to keep going when ovens broke down or loans came due. I whisper to him now. What do I do, Henry? Run or fight? His answer isn't a voice, not exactly. It's the certainty I remember from every decision we made together. Truth above comfort. Do the hard thing if it's the right thing. My chest straightens, the panic simmering into something hotter, harder. Resolve. I pull up the keypad and dial 3 numbers. 911, what is your emergency? The dispatcher's voice is calm, clinical. I grip the phone tighter. My daughter and her husband tried to drug me tonight. They wanted me to sign over my business. There's evidence. Documents. Wine glasses. Everything. They're still at the house in Bellevue. A beat of silence. Then the dispatcher launches into a barrage of questions. Address, number of suspects, nature of poisoning, whether I'm in immediate danger. I answer as clearly as I can, my business instincts taking over. Precise facts, no wasted words. We have units en route, she assures me. ETA 20 minutes. Ma'am, for your safety, do not return to that location. But I already know safety isn't enough. I have to go back. If I don't, they'll hide the evidence. They'll try again. Ma'am, that is not recommended. I've made my decision. I cut in, steady now. Please tell your officers to expect me there. When I hang up, the driver is watching me in the mirror, concern etched across his face. You sure you want to do this? You looked relieved heading home. Now you look like you're marching into battle. I am, I admit. But sometimes you can't choose comfort over justice. He doesn't argue, just changes lanes, turning us back toward Bellevue. The rain drums heavier on the windshield, each drop a tiny drumbeat pushing me forward. The second ride to that mansion feels nothing like the first. Earlier, I was nervous but hopeful, believing in reconciliation. Now, every mile feels like a countdown to confrontation. My pulse hammers with equal parts dread and determination. I picture Sophia's face when the police knock. Will she crumple into tears? Or will she sneer, convinced she can talk her way out? I imagine Daniel scrambling, papers shoved into drawers, rehearsed charm cracking like sugar glass. And beneath it all, the ache that this is my daughter, my only child, about to face handcuffs because she chose greed over love. The driver slows as we near the neighborhood. Ahead, dark silhouettes of police cruisers roll quietly, lights off but unmistakable. My heart slams against my ribs. This is real. This is happening. Drop me at the corner, I tell him. My voice doesn't tremble now. I'll walk up. He hesitates. Ma'am, please, I insist. I step out into the rain. The mansion looms down the block, golden light spilling from its windows like nothing inside could possibly be rotten. My shoes click against wet pavement, steady, deliberate. Each step feels like a promise. To Henry, to myself, that I will not let betrayal win. By the time I reach the front door, my hand trembles only slightly as I press the bell. The chimes echo through the grand hall beyond, too sweet for what's about to happen. Inside, footsteps approach, fast, hurried. My breath steadies. My back straightens. Time to face my daughter. The door opens too quickly, as though someone had been standing right behind it. Sophia fills the frame, her smile stretched so tight it looks painful. Relief floods her face, but beneath it, panic flickers. Mom, where have you been? You scared us half to death. She reaches for my arm with fingers that tremble. I school my features into calm. Needed some air. That chicken was rich, and you know how I get. I force a chuckle. Daniel appears behind her, jaw tight, eyes scanning me as though to measure what I might have discovered. We thought maybe you got lost. Bellevue streets can be confusing. Not that confusing? I answer lightly, stepping inside. The foyer feels different now, not grand but oppressive, as if the marble floors are waiting to swallow secrets. Let's get you back to the table, Sophia says too quickly. Her hand still grips my arm, just shy of desperate. Dessert is ready. I let her lead me to the dining room. The table is suspiciously tidied. Papers that had been stacked near Daniel's seat are gone, glasses rearranged. Miguel hovers near the kitchen door, his face unreadable. But when his eyes meet mine, I see the same silent urgency as before. Sit, Mom, Sophia urges. Daniel is already at the liquor cabinet, uncorking a fresh bottle of wine. Thought we'd end the evening with a toast, he says, back turned. His hands move too carefully, too long, lingering over one glass. When he turns, he carries 3 tumblers, 2 filled with clear garnet liquid, one a shade darker, heavier. He sets the darker one directly before me, his smile rehearsed. To family, Daniel says smoothly, raising his own glass. I lift mine, but don't drink. Instead, I swirl the liquid slowly, pretending to admire its color. Tiny particles catch the chandelier light, just as Miguel had warned. You know, I say conversationally, this reminds me of when Sophia was born. Daniel blinks. Sophia frowns. Mom, 14 hours of labor. I continue, ignoring her. Your father pacing holes in the linoleum, swearing he'd never eat another hospital sandwich again. I laugh softly, as if carried away by memory. Sophia presses her palms flat against the table. That's sweet, Mom. But let's drink before the wine warms. Patience, I murmur, still swirling the glass. Some stories can't be rushed. Daniel's jaw tightens. His smile strains. Just one sip, Linda. Then we'll listen to every story you want to tell. I set the glass down carefully, folding my hands in my lap. Funny thing about stories, I say. They reveal more than people want. The room stills. Sophia's eyes dart toward Daniel's. His fingers tap against the glass stem, an old tell, the same nervous habit Henry used to tease me about. I lean forward slightly. Tell me, Sophia, when did family become about signatures on paper instead of love? Her face drains of color. Daniel starts to speak, but 3 sharp knocks thunder from the front door. Police! Open up! The words slice through the dining room like a blade. Daniel's glass slips from his hand, shattering against the floor, red liquid splattering across marble like blood. Sophia jumps to her feet, panic flooding her features. What is this? She stammers. I stay seated, calm now, power filling the space where fear once lived. It's the truth, sweetheart, and it finally caught up. Uniformed officers sweep into the room. One moves straight to the table, snapping on gloves, lifting my untouched glass. He tilts it under the chandelier. The sediment swirls visibly. Detective? He calls. We've got it. Sophia bursts into tears, wild and loud. No, this is a mistake. We were just having dinner. Daniel lunges toward me, but an officer intercepts, twisting his arms behind his back with brutal efficiency. The metallic click of handcuffs echoes in the cavernous room. Daniel Cole, the senior officer intones. You are under arrest for attempted poisoning, conspiracy to commit fraud, and elder abuse. Another officer approaches Sophia. Sophia Cole, you're under arrest as a co-conspirator. She thrashes, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Mom, tell them it's not true, please. I rise slowly, meeting her frantic eyes. My heart breaks even as my voice stays steady. I don't have to tell them anything. The wine says it all. Her sobs splinter into screams as the officers drag her toward the door. Daniel keeps his head down, muttering, You don't understand. They'll kill me if I don't pay. The officers barely acknowledge him. They've heard every excuse in the book. Miguel steps forward quietly, his hands clasped, eyes lowered. But when the police carry Sophia and Daniel out, he glances at me, and for the first time all night, he allows a small, sorrowful nod. The house is suddenly silent. Only the broken glass remains, the poisoned wine spreading slowly across marble, evidence of how close betrayal came to victory. I exhale, long and shaky, then straighten my shoulders. Henry used to say truth always arrives, whether you're ready or not. Tonight, Truth arrived with sirens, and for once, I'm grateful. The flashing lights from the squad cars paint the mansion walls in streaks of red and blue. Through the tall windows, the expensive decor looks warped, like a gallery of lies exposed under harsh neon. I stand near the dining table, arms folded tightly around myself, watching officers march my daughter and son-in-law into the night. Sophia is still crying, her voice ragged. "Mom, please! Tell them it isn't true! They're twisting everything!" Her words stab at me, each plea reopening a wound. I want to believe her. I ache to believe her. But the untouched glass on the table gleams under the chandelier, cloudy sediment swirling in its depths. Truth doesn't beg. Truth just sits there, undeniable. Daniel doesn't fight. He mutters curses under his breath, his body sagging against the officer's grip. As they push him through the door, he throws one last look over his shoulder. "You don't understand, Linda. They'll kill us. I had no choice." I step forward, my voice steadier than I feel. There's always a choice. You chose greed. You chose betrayal. The door slams behind them. Silence follows, broken only by the soft shuffle of Miguel in the kitchen. He emerges slowly, eyes lowered, as if afraid to intrude on the wreckage of my family. "You were right," I say quietly. "Every warning, every message, you saved my life." His shoulders slump, relief visible in the release of tension. I just did what anyone should have done. But I know better. Most people would have looked away, choosing their paycheck over a stranger's safety. He risked everything. And my daughter, my own blood, risked me. The officers remain, cataloging evidence. They collect the documents hurriedly stuffed into drawers, legal papers with my name already typed neatly above signature lines. Seeing them, my chest caves in. My daughter had prepared for this, researched, planned, calculated. This wasn't a moment of desperation. It was deliberate. An officer approaches me, voice professional. "Ma'am, they'll face serious charges. Attempted poisoning, conspiracy, fraud. Minimum 10 years if convicted, likely more." I nod, though the words feel distant, muffled, like someone else's story. When they finish, the house empties quickly. Police cars pull away, taking Sophia and Daniel with them. The night grows quiet again, but the silence is different now. Thick, echoing with the memory of chains clicking shut. I wander back to the dining table. The chicken sits untouched, skin glossy, garlic perfume gone sour in the air. The wine stain spreads across marble like a wound. For a moment, I picture a different ending. Sophia laughing at dessert, Daniel talking about anything other than money. Me believing reconciliation was real. I picture Henry at the head of the table, raising a glass to family. That world doesn't exist. I sink into the chair that had been meant for me. The guest of honor, the target. The wood feels cold against my back. My daughter, my only child, had plotted my destruction. The grief is sharper than any betrayal from a stranger could ever be. It slices straight through memory. Bedtime stories, school concerts, whispered promises after nightmares. Did she erase them as easily as signing a paper? Tears sting my eyes, but I let them fall. Crying isn't weakness tonight, it's mourning. Not for my life, which was spared, but for the daughter I lost long before the handcuffs. Miguel steps closer, a quiet anchor. "Señora Linda, would you like me to stay until morning?" I shake my head, wiping my cheeks. "No, go home. You've done enough, more than enough." He nods respectfully, retreating. His presence lingers, though, proof that compassion can still exist, even in the ruins of family. I rise at last, taking one final look at the wrecked dining room. luxury and poison, lies and evidence, a place that was never meant to be home. When I walk out into the rain, the night air feels like judgment and freedom all at once. My umbrella stays closed. Let the water fall. Let it wash the last of this evening from my skin. Because the truth is harder than rain, and I'm still standing. The police station hums with late-night noise, phones ringing, typewriters clacking, the shuffle of officers moving through fluorescent corridors. I sit at a metal table, giving my statement, the bitter taste of coffee grounding me. Through the reinforced glass, I glimpse Sophia in a holding cell, her mascara streaked, her sobs echoing even through concrete. Daniel sits slumped in another cell, his head in his hands, muttering about debts and threats. Detective Harrison, a middle-aged man with weary eyes, sets down his pen. Your testimony is crucial, Miss Carter. The sedative in that wine, combined with alcohol, would have left you compliant, disoriented, maybe even with memory gaps. They had documents prepped to transfer your businesses. It was calculated. My throat tightens. I glance again at Sophia. She sees me and rushes to the glass, pounding once. Mom, please, I didn't mean it. Daniel made me. I'm still your daughter. I shake my head slowly. Daughters don't drug their mothers. I whisper, more to myself than to her. The detective clears his throat gently, guiding me back. Attempted poisoning, fraud, elder abuse, this will carry weight. Daniel may face 20 years, Sophia less, but still significant. The numbers hang heavy in the air. 20 years. My daughter will spend most of her adulthood behind bars because she chose betrayal over honesty. When the paperwork is complete, I step into the lobby. The hour is past midnight, but someone is waiting for me on the bench, Miguel. He stands quickly, almost shy, twisting his cap in his hands. You shouldn't be here, I say softly. You've already risked enough. His dark eyes meet mine, steady but humble. I couldn't leave until I knew you were safe. Something in me breaks then, not the jagged kind of breaking, but the release of carrying too much weight too long. Tears slide down my cheeks, unashamed. You saved my life, I tell him, and you lost your job for it. He shrugs, though his voice trembles. Some jobs aren't worth keeping. Some lines you don't cross, no matter who pays you. I study him for a moment. In his stance, I see honesty, dignity, the very values Henry and I built Sweet Harbor upon. And suddenly, I know what to do. I have a position, I say. Manager at our newest cafe in Tacoma. It's yours, if you want it. Salary, benefits, training, real security. His mouth falls open. Senora, I don't know what to say. Say yes, I urge gently, not as charity, as recognition. You're the kind of person I need in my company. Someone who chooses right when no one is watching. Emotion flickers across his face, raw and unguarded. He nods hard, tears brightening his eyes. Yes, I'll start whenever you say. Monday, I answer. 10 a.m. Bring your honesty, and maybe an appetite for cinnamon rolls. A laugh breaks through his tears, and for the first time in 24 hours, I feel light again. When I finally return home, the house greets me with silence, but not the hollow silence I dreaded before. This silence feels earned, safe. On the refrigerator, family photos still crowd the surface. I remove Sophia's wedding photo gently, sliding it into a drawer. Not destroyed, but not displayed either. Some memories must be preserved out of duty, not love. Henry's picture stays right where it belongs, his steady smile reminding me I've kept faith with the values we built together. Before bed, I open my calendar and jot a note. Monday, 10 a.m. Miguel, new beginning. Underneath, I add another line. Family is chosen by actions, not blood. I set down the pen and close my eyes. The future isn't neat. Trials await. Headlines will sting. My heart will ache each time I remember Sophia's face pressed against the glass, begging. But I also know this. Tonight, truth prevailed. Betrayal was stopped. And somewhere inside the ruins, a seed of hope has been planted. Because sometimes family isn't the child you raised, but the person who risked everything to save you. And that, I realize as sleep finally comes, is enough to keep me going.